Hi, I'm going to do an inner child healing tonight. So thank you so much for joining me. As I normally do with these healings, I'm going to break it down into a couple of sections. It makes it a little bit easier for me to do that. So tonight, we're going to be looking at your inner child communication space, and then your inner child emotions, your inner child play space, and your inner child love and support space. So that's what we have on the menu for the healing tonight. I'll go ahead and set the energy. As we cleanse and heal the temple of the soul, may it be with the blessing of divinity that it shine its countenance upon us and bring us peace in body, mind, and spirit. Amen. Okay, so if you're new to these healings, what I do is I work off of a composite of everybody in the sanctuary, which allows me to clear something called matching pictures, which helps me to find pain in people's space and be able to clear it. So that's how this healing happens. And I'm going to start with the first section, which is your inner child communication and any energies that are affecting your inner child communication. The very first thing I notice is that the inner child is in fear. So I'm going to take a moment and ground the fear. And what I'm hearing is that your inner child doesn't feel like it has a safe place to be. So I'm watching some white energy, it's fear, come out of your spiritual space. I can't wait till we get to the play space, because what I see about your inner child is it really wants to be playful, but there's a lot of hesitation. So I'm clearing off the energy that makes you hesitate. Okay, so this is on inner child communication, this section. And what I see about that is that there's a very narrow space for communication to you from your inner child, and we want to open that up. There's a lot of judgment in that space about your inner child, and that's the next energy that's going to be cleared. And there's energy in this space that makes you not take your inner child seriously. And maybe seriously isn't the right word, but it's where it's energy that tells you it's not that important to be in touch with your inner child. It's actually very important. I just thought I'd slip that in. And there's also some anger that's been directed at you in your inner child space, the communication space. Um, right now, I'm watching you get a healing to your heart chakra that has to do with your ability to communicate to your own inner child or to be able to hear it. So, what I see is that sometimes your inner child will try to communicate things to you that aren't convenient for you to take a moment and listen to the inner child. So there's some invalidation in there about not being listened to. And I'm going to clear that. It's a brown energy. There's so much emphasis from like society to take things seriously. And so there's a lot of judgment about that the inner child is too silly. It's not important. And getting the fear out has really helped change your space. There's a lot of light coming in now. And you know what I see about your inner child communication is that it's very truthful. And maybe sometimes you don't want to hear the truth. And that might be why it gets dismissed sometimes as being not very important. But what I see energetically is that your inner child will tell you the truth. And there's some dark green coming out of the communication space. That dark green is moving a little more slowly than the other energy. So I'm just going to take another moment here. Okay. All right. So the communication space has opened up and there's a lot of light and some gold coming in. So I'm going to fill that in with a big gold sun. The sun was a really pretty apricot gold. All right. So the next section that I'm going to work on is your inner child emotions. Um, there's such a range of inner child emotions. So the main thing that I see is a lot of them are ungrounded. So when I look at that emotional space for the inner child, there's a lot of energy like this kind of um, all around the place. So I'm going to start by grounding that. And what I'm finding is there's a lot of hiding energy, like hiding your inner child and not wanting to express the emotions of your inner child. So there's some hesitation in there. Okay, now we're getting a nice grounding on the emotions. And there's a lot of energy coming out. It's it's weird colors, pink, brown, like a mixture of pink and brown. And what I'm seeing is that there's not a lot of respect for your inner child emotion. And I don't mean that from you, I mean that from other people. So there's again, a lot of judgment about your inner child emotions. I'm going to clear that. There's some energy of others trying to control your inner child coming out. So that control energy is leaving. One of the emotions that I'm helping you ground, because it's going to be so helpful, is your inner child happiness. I'm helping you clear energy off of that vibration. And I guess what I really could be doing is looking at or clearing where there's no permission in your space to express your inner child emotions. Um, there's like it's kind of like hiding energy. It's a very quiet energy, like almost like where you're whispering your emotions because of not wanting to express them. So that's like one side of the dichotomy. The other side is where you have all of this really great energy in your inner child space, and where you can go from to the other opposite of having a lot of enthusiasm and your emotions being very out there and playful. So you have a whole range of emotions. The there's a lot of hurt coming out of your inner child emotional space. And I'm just watching that energy flow out. There's a lot of invalidation coming out. It's like a purple energy. Okay, by grounding the emotions, it's smoothing your emotional spectrum out. It's it's getting grounded. So that's actually been really good. Good. We're getting some self-love in this space. Okay. Nice. That self-love was a beautiful vibration. It looked like platinum gold with a bunch of sparkly colors on top. Okay. So I'm going to fill in your emotion, your inner child emotion space. And as I filled it in, what I saw was a lot more of your acceptance of your inner child, like accepting its emotions. Okay. Next is the play space. We're going to take a look at the energies that get between you and your inner child play space. First off, your inner child play space is such a wonderful vibration, and it's honestly, it looks like it's the impetus for a lot of your creating. And what I mean by that is that that's where your creative energy originates from, is your inner child. That's what I see. There's a lot of what I'm going to call transmedium energy, and transmedium energy is what I call the residue of beings that move in and out of your space. And so there's transmedium energy in this play space that keeps you from being able to get in your body and really own that play space. It's a white energy. I'm clearing that. Your inner child play space is such a great space. It's such a healing for you, is what I see. There's a lot of lush green energy in your play space. So it represents a lot of growth, new things, freshness. So I like seeing that. It's beautiful green. One of the first energies that I'm really noticing that has an effect on your inner child play space are parents, parents' energy. And to me, it has to do with them being the ones that are trying to guide you to grow up, and where your inner child sometimes gets lost in their attempts to get you to grow up. And maybe I'm not explaining that very well. Let me see if I can think of another way to say it. So what I'm seeing is that when parents try to teach you how to mature, sometimes in that the inner child gets lost, the inner child play space gets lost, because there may be judgment about you retaining that youthfulness, that young inner child. So let me just clear this. Yeah, there's not a lot of permission for your inner child play space after about age 7. So I'm grounding that point on your timeline, and a lot of gold is coming in as that gets grounded. So from age 7 on to wherever you are in present time, age-wise, there's a lot of invalidation about your play space. It's dark gray, kind of grainy, charcoal colored, and that's starting to come out. Okay, that's starting to fill in with a lot of gold, and that space is really opening up now. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this space in with the vibration of play. And the vibration of permission. Okay. Our last topic or section, I would call it, is your inner child love and support. And your inner child love and support, guess who that comes from? It comes from you. So I'm going to be working on clearing any energy that gets between you and your ability to love and support your inner child. Beings, 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 beings. Sometimes some of the beings that you invite into your space when you are a child come in and have an effect on your inner child space. You know how when you're young, you'll bring a being in as a friend, or well, we'll bring beings into our space for all kinds of different reasons. But I was looking at when you bring them in on a friendship level. If you're lonely as a child, a lot of times we'll bring a being in, and there are quite a number of beings in this space. Right now, I'm working in your heart chakra again for your self-affinity. Getting a lot of really pretty orange gold coming in. And I'm going to work on helping you clear the energy of work. Work energy is preventing you from loving and supporting your inner child. Gets right in there. There's a picture coming out of this space about you being selfish with your time for taking the time to be with your inner child. There's a judgment picture on that. There's a waterfall of energy coming out of you now. Energy that's gotten between you and your ability to love and support your inner child. There's just a wave of energy coming out. Family, siblings. And I'll say healing agreements with other people that seem to be senior to your commitment to your inner child. So I'm going to see what I can do about those healing agreements. Okay, I ask Supreme Being to give you a healing on that, and that's happening right now. And the energy looks like melting wax as it's coming out. I also see spouses in this space, and it's on both levels. Spouses maybe with their judgment, but also spouses that try to elicit more of your play space, not your play space, your inner child. So I see where partners' energy is in that space, not necessarily in a negative way, though. Okay, I'm going to finish off this part with the love and support by creating a gold line of energy from your crown chakra up to a gold sun, and the sun represents Supreme Being. And so the last part is I'm just going to give you a Supreme Being healing to your inner child. Well, I'm not going to give you the Supreme Being healing. Supreme Being is going to give it to you. So as I'm watching the healing, it's just like gold coming down all the way through you. That was really sweet. There was like an image being shown of Supreme Being. If Supreme Being had a hand, putting a hand out and holding your hand. That was the final image of that healing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and fill everybody in with a big gold sun. And as you were being filled in, I saw that as a result of this healing, you have a lot more. You're creating more time for your inner child. There was an issue with time and not having the time to sit and be quiet and listen to your inner child. But after the healing, I saw you creating that space for it. Okay. All right. Let me close out the healing. May it be with the blessing of divinity that this healing tonight be complete. Amen. All right. Let me just take a minute and look at you. What I love is that after these healings, you're surrounded by light and gold. And that's what I see when I look at you. Okay, good. That's a good thing. In 2 nights, I have a class coming up on your spiritual freedom. I'm very excited about it. And we're going to be taking a look at different things that affect our spiritual freedom and also ways to clean out our spiritual freedom. And then we're going to do a mock-up for our spiritual freedom. So that's coming up on Thursday. And we have another healing this month on the following Thursday, and that's going to be on letting go, which I'm looking forward to. And then our Body Beautiful healing, or not healing, but meditation this month. Oh, I'm loving this, is on our feet. So we're going to get a nice foot healing for Body Beautiful. All right, that's what's cooking. And thank you very much for joining me tonight. Got my eyes on you, and I hope you have a lovely evening tonight. And next time I see you, I'll be back at my place,